Residents of the Northwest Territories will have access to at least 20 more charter flights on Friday as wildfires pose a threat to numerous settlements, including the region's capital of Yellowknife. 22 flights will be available on Friday, according to territorial officials, who also said that more flights may be added on Saturday depending on the weather and the availability of crews and aircraft. We will be running flights 24/7 until the population that is wanting to get out on flights are able to evacuate via those flights, said Jennifer Young, Information Officer for the Territory's Emergency Management Agency. The Canadian Armed Forces will offer more flights out of the territory, and Global News reported on Thursday that they were deploying 4 more planes to help with evacuations. The Canadian forces had already begun transporting evacuees on 2 Hercules cargo planes earlier in the week. The addition of 2 more Hercules planes, 1 C-17 aircraft, and 1 Polaris aircraft to the evacuation effort was confirmed by military sources to Global News on Thursday. They are anticipated to travel north after arriving in Edmonton on Thursday, after traveling from CFB Trenton in Ontario. Chief Warrant Officer Richard Francoeur announced during the media conference on Thursday that additional military resources would arrive on Friday. A deadline of noon on Friday was rapidly approaching for the 20,000 residents of Yellowknife and 2 adjacent First Nations to leave the city as a wildfire approaches. A fire is also threatening the community of Hay River. Around 1,500 residents were evacuated to southern provinces, notably Alberta, on board 10 planes chartered by the territory on Thursday, according to officials on Thursday evening. Over 1,000 additional evacuees took commercial flights to leave. On Thursday, Young added, the weather made it difficult to offer more chartered flights. Since information on registered arrivals at evacuation centers is expected to be released on Friday, it was unclear how many people were forced to go by land. Along the main route exiting Yellowknife, fuel tanker trucks and tow vehicles were stationed on standby in case motorists required assistance. The next 2 days' projected winds, according to Mike Westwick, a wildfire information officer with the territory's Department of Environment and Climate Change, are expected to push the fires in directions we don't want, specifically toward the vulnerable villages. We're approaching a crucial few days, he remarked. Administration responses. By Thursday night, evacuation centers in Alberta were rapidly filling up. As a result of its registration center's capacity, the city of Leduc informed visitors that they would be sent to Edmonton, which is close and will open its reception center at noon on Friday. Calgary's airport was prepared to receive 5,000 evacuees, according to a statement from Mayor Jody Gondek. When Albertan jurisdictions are full, Ian Leggery of the N.W.T Disaster Management Department said the territory will look to Manitoba to take in more evacuees. Other provinces, he claimed, had limitations. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called an urgent meeting with ministers and other top officials on Thursday in response to the wildfire catastrophe in the Northwest Territories, which has prompted different governments at various levels from around the nation to give support to impacted communities. An urgent meeting of the Incident Response Group, a cabinet committee that generally contains of senior ministers and top officials, was added to Trudeau's itinerary while he is presently on holiday in British Columbia. According to a statement released by the Prime Minister's office after the meeting, Trudeau and the ministers received a briefing on the most recent events, including the Wednesday evacuation order for Yellowknife. The ministers also talked about the necessity for measures to lessen the effects of the flames and safety concerns relating to public infrastructure. For individuals who were impacted, Trudeau instructed ministers to work with telecommunications partners to maintain access to key services. Additionally, the group emphasized that there would be no tolerance for opportunistic price escalation, including airfare and essential goods for those impacted by the wildfires. At 10 a.m. MT on Friday, officials of Emergency Preparedness Harjit Sajjan, Defense Minister Bill Blair, Minister of Transportation Pablo Rodriguez, and other federal officials were scheduled to offer more details on the government's response. The Stanton Territorial Hospital in Yellowknife will close by Friday, according to the N.W.T. Health Authority, and surgeries will be reduced. The majority of long-term care patients have been relocated to facilities south of the Northwest Territories, notably British Columbia, while intensive care patients were being sent to Alberta. Hospital patients were being transported to Vancouver International Airport on Thursday night. The hospital's emergency room, according to the health authority, is still operational. Premier Caroline Cochrane said on Thursday night on Global News that the evacuation effort was slow and steady. She stated, "I'm glad that so far, people haven't lost their composure on the highways out. As long as we can fly, we'll keep people moving. We have lines of people waiting for flights, but we're trying to organize it so we can stay open." She also stated in an online article that we're all in this together, but individually we choose how to react. While the term unprecedented has grown tiresome, there is no other way to describe the current state of affairs in the Northwest Territories. The nation is keeping an eye on us, and our neighbors are praying for us. In response to worries that strong winds could drive flames onto Roadway 3, the primary roadway being used by evacuees to evacuate the area, Westwick said emergency personnel were organizing convoys. At the main petrol station on the highway south of Yellowknife, there were reportedly long lines. The volume of traffic, according to Linda Croft, general manager of the Big River Service Station in Fort Providence, is phenomenal. WestJet indicated it was changing fares and raising capacity for passengers departing on commercial flights out of Yellowknife in order to meet the demand. In addition to operating previously scheduled flights from Yellowknife to Calgary, the airline said it has added a second recovery flight scheduled for Thursday and larger aircraft. In order to allow more passengers to bring their dogs on board, WestJet has increased the restrictions on pets in cabins. Fox Creek, Valley View, Fort McMurray, Grande Prairie, Street Albert, Leduc, and Red Deer are among the Albertan communities that have established evacuee reception centers, some of which have already reached capacity. After receiving a request for assistance from the Alberta Emergency Management Agency to support the Yellowknife evacuation operation, the City of Edmonton stated on Thursday afternoon that it was also creating a welcome center for evacuees. With wildfire activity occurring all over the world this summer, it has been tremendously tough. In a statement, City Manager Andrew Corbould stated, "Edmonton is happy to once again welcome and provide care for wildfire evacuees, this time from Yellowknife.